Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today is going to be an interesting video, something I don't think I've ever done before. I'm going to mention 15 channels, YouTube channels that I like to watch for game reviews. Now, I mean, initially I had watched like IGN and GameSpot and maybe 2 or 3 others, very few in the early days because there wasn't a lot of big channels and that were really promoted. So those ones are always kind of on the top of the list when you go on YouTube searches in 2009 and 10, around there. But over time, you find other smaller channels you like, and some grew to be huge channels, some not. But these are good channels. Again, I could double this list quite easily, and maybe I'll do an additional one with another 15. Perhaps even smaller channels like under 1,000 views that I think are worth watching, which I'd like to do to kind of try to help and promote those channels. Many of these are bigger channels. Some of these are considered friends of mine. Other ones not so much. Not that I'm not friendly towards them, or I'll leave positive comments and all that, but you don't always get the same interaction, or you don't get them when they watch your videos and then you can communicate with each other. You have each other's phone number and you're texting. That's what I consider a friend, whether I see them in person or not. I mean, it's always nice to sit and have a nice lunch with someone. And I could certainly do one of these on my favorite vlogging channels, and I'll probably do one of those as well. But right now, when times get tough for me, after I had my surgery, or sometimes late at night where I can't sleep, I'm in a lot of pain and I'm just kind of shuffling around, I'll watch game reviews until I get tired and fall asleep. So I love to watch game reviews. I always have. I don't know what it is, but I like to see people's takes on games. Now, not every one of these channels agrees with my taste in games. Quite often, some of them, they're aligned more or less. Some of them, they have very different takes on it. There's many channels, bigger channels I could mention, but they're just so overtly negative. Mac at Worth a Buy is, I love this channel for just a brutal peanut butter thick layer of sarcasm he has over everything is great, but he's like overly, like critically negative of a lot of good games because they don't meet his, he hates third-person shooters. Right off the bat, he's going to shit on those. He hates any console game or console port. He hates consoles in general. I got into a very long, lengthy, heated debate back and forth over the fact that he just shit squats and spreads his cheeks and shits all over console players. And that's where I challenged him on it. And he actually came back. We went back and forth a little bit, but he's just implacable. I mean, you can't reason with him. He likes what he likes, and I respect him for that. He's got a good channel. If you're into PC gaming, that is, good. And some of these channels kind of lean towards PC gamings or CRPGs, that kind of thing. And I'll mention those, as I come across them. But anyway, I'll quickly get on. There are no particular orders. It just happens to be the order that I kind of saw them on YouTube. And I went through, I'll have like a B-roll where I'll have a little, footage of each channel via my TV, how I would see them. So that way you get this little glimpse of their channel. You'll see how many views or how many subs they have, and a few of their uploads, just to kind of give a little taste of each one. But these are really good channels that on almost a daily, if not weekly basis, I look forward to seeing their reviews, and I would highly recommend every one of these channels. One of them, again, another fairly negative channel, but his reviews are really good, and a lot of the games I like the Wolfenstein games and Duke Nukem games, he's very affectionate towards, as I am. So because of that, I'll include him reluctantly in this list. He shit all over Mad Max, and that's a lengthy story. I'll get into that story later. But so anyway, again, there are no particular order. Just so happens ACG is first, and I'll label the people that are friends of mine as a friend. Carrot, Jeremy at ACG. Has been quite friendly towards me. He's commented on a couple of my videos, not too many, but he'll leave very nice comments to me when I do comment on his things. And he found out I was sick for quite a while with COVID, and left some very nice, comments, and lets me know that he still cares about me as a person and as a gamer. So I respect him for that. And I do like his channel quite a bit. Like I said, Many of these, if I had my way and had my druthers, my wife doesn't like me supporting anyone with Patreon. She goes, oh, we can't afford, we have no money for it. Can I have 20 bucks going out a month, 25, 50 bucks a month for this channel and 20 for that? As much as I'd like to, believe me, there's many channels that I see what they're trying to do. I know they're trying to make a living at it, and I wish I was in a position to where I could support them more, but I'm not making the wages where I have that kind of income. I did at one time, but not now. So it's hard for me. As much as I'd like to support them, I just can't do it. But so some of these games, or I'm sorry, some of these gaming channels do have Patreon. It's not something that I would ever do. I would never have it. And I've had many viewers have come to me, Dean, if you had a Patreon, I definitely would support you. Don't be afraid to put one up. And I say, well, I always thank them. Thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me that you would think highly of me enough to try to support me as a channel or as an individual YouTube or whatever. But it's just not for me. I mean, never was into that advertising. Now, if you happen to see ads on my channel, it's not because I wanted them. It's because YouTube, for whatever reason, has put ads on them. I don't know. I've heard some people say there's ads in some of my videos, and I've heard other people say that they've never seen ads. I don't know how that works, but anyway, ACG. Great channel. Followed him for quite a while. I don't know what the first video was I watched of his, but he used to be called the Angry Centaur Gaming Channel. He was more spelled out, and he abbreviated over time. Extremely bright and witty. That's one of the things I like about him. He's got a very high IQ. Extremely witty with his dialogue. It goes over the heads of many people like the Blue Angels at an air show, but I appreciate his kind of biting satire and wit is quite good. And I have no problem with that, with the way he does his reviews. Sometimes he can talk a little too much and add too much minutia to the review with a lot of witticisms and what have you, but overall a really good reviewer. He's into a lot of the technical aspects, so he'll talk about frame rates, or if the audio doesn't have the perfect separation, or if it's not perfect enough for him. He's more of an audiophile, so he would make those distinctions as to which games really have excellent sound versus others that don't. To me, I don't notice that as much. I'm more of a visual person. But he's very skilled from a technical standpoint and quite worth listening to. Kind of up, but halfway between a regular reviewer and, probably Digital Foundry. He's up there in that caliber of qualifications, I think. The next gaming channel that I really like, and it's because we share a lot of our favorite series and games he likes. He's like very much aligned with what I like. And he's the type where he'll do one review of a series. He'll start with the first game and then do the second, the third, or fourth if there is one. And he consistently does, like in a series, week after week, he'll take a series and go through the whole thing and lovingly review each game in that series. And I really like that about his channel. That's called Gaming Pastime. I left him a really nice comment recently, which he really left a nice comment in regard to that one. But I've supported him for many years. I don't always comment on his videos, but I watch most of them. Now, he is another one who kind of, if there's a choice between playing a game on console or PC, he's always going to do the PC port. So if he reviews Red Faction, let's say, he's going to review the PC port of it over the PS2 port. That's just the way he is. And that's fine. Again, some of these channels are more PC-centric, but if I know that the same game is on console, I'll watch it just to kind of get a taste of the gameplay and to kind of get a feel for the premise of the game. Does it have good mechanics or not? Does it have good RPG elements, that kind of stuff? So, fantastic channel. He loves the Twisted Metal series. Right off the bat, he reviewed Twisted Metal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Twisted Metal Black, Head On, all of them. And I loved him for that. Return to Castle Wolfenstein. He's gone through all the Wolfenstein games. So we share a lot in common. He recently went through all the Painkiller games and went through every one. Most of them are on PC, but he went over and he would mention the console ports when they would come around. But a really good channel. He just did one on the club, which I left a really nice comment on that one. I think that was the one that we interacted back and forth on. But I've seen many reviews of that game, but when he reviews a game, he goes over it in such great detail and really passionately to where it's very enticing. Like, wow, I've had that game in cinema. Now I really want to play it. So I like people that are motivated, that just aren't dry and it's all technical, but they really show, look, this is the fun factor, and I'll tell you why I like the game. It's because of this, this, and this, and then they delve into it, and it makes me more enticed, feeling enticed to play the game or to give it a shot. Anyway, great channel. Skill Up is another one. Been around for quite a while, kind of like an ACG caliber. In fact, they had a collaboration at one point where they were on a podcast, or one of them interviewed the other one, and it was an interesting they kind of challenged each other a little bit as to, well, why do you review your games like this? I don't understand, which I thought was interesting. But Australian fellow, nice fellow, really like his channel, and he can be very black and white with games. Either he likes them or he doesn't. And either he'll say right up front, I recommend that you buy this, or I don't recommend you buy this. And then he'll give you, the myriad of reasons why. Really a good reviewer. I like his Far Cry reviews in particular, quite good. Give this channel a chance. Again, I'm going to have links to all of these channels down below, so you can go through and, if you want to follow them, you can sub to them, or just kind of check out a few of them. If it's something that you like, sub to them, Get the feed and their notifications to come up or whatever. It'd be worth it. The next one is a fairly newer one. I'm fairly new to his channel, or maybe the last year, so to me that's new. And that's Mortis Mal Gaming. Mortismal Gaming. I'm not sure precisely how to pronounce that, but really good guy. He's someone had ironically, a kind of a youth or childhood like I did. Came from kind of a very poor, impoverished home, ended up on the street at a very young age like I did, had to just sink or swim and tough it out. When other kids were living the life of Riley and enjoying living at home and playing on their favorite consoles, I was kicked out on the streets, 16 and a half years old, so as he was. So we have a lot in common in that respect. I didn't know that at first. I just recently found that out in one of his reviews. He talked about his past, and I was like, wow, this is almost like precisely what I went through. But he's got, he got married for a while, and he's got a child now. I think he's separated, but he's raising the child. And so he's a very mature person, and he decided to do YouTube full time. He quit his job, took the risk, and he's doing it full time. And again, he's more of a CRPG channel, so a lot of computer games. Wasteland, Two Directors Cut, he did a great review of that. Wasteland 3 in particular is one of his favorite games. He did the Weird West, really good reviews of a lot of these kind of RTS games and RPG type games. Many of them are PC centric, but again, the ones that are also on console, I take the time to go out of my way to watch. He always, loves my comment, and he's very supportive. I don't comment on every one of his videos, but the ones that I really watch and like, I'll leave a comment on. Highly recommend it. And one of his big gimmicks is he 100%s every single game. You can see his Steam profile, and you can see that he does, 100% achievements, trophies, whatever they call them. He does it. So when he talks about a game, he actually knows, and that kind of what he says, what sets him apart from other game reviewers, that they just review 5 or 6 hours, play the game. Okay, I know the game enough, and they can talk about it with relatively accuracy. He comes from a standpoint where he'll play the game, all the DLC, every side quest, do everything in the game, so he really knows what he's talking about. And he plays some very challenging games and beats them like it's not that big of a deal. Callisto Protocol, Atomic Heart, he just beat and 100%ed it. And, he calls out that, it was somewhat difficult here, but, once you recognize the patterns, you can quickly get through it. And he makes it sound a lot easier than it really is. But these are talented people. Check his channel, a good channel. Before You Buy, or gameranx, again, that's Jake Baldino, who also has his own channel. And sometimes he'll do a Before You Buy on Atomic Heart, but then he'll do on his own channel, Jake Baldino, he'll do a personal take. I kind of was hard on the review, but I'll tell you why, but I still like the game, and this is why, But and there's a couple, 3 different reviewers on there that may review the games. They kind of take turns in going through them. but a really good channel. One of my favorites. It's just fairly short, concise, 8 to 15 minute videos. You can quickly surmise the thing. Some of these reviewers skill up and others may do, a 38 minute review on a game, but you're really going to get the details of it. So, but anyway, great channel, and I'll have a link to that, his channel down below. Luke Stevens. Now, Luke Stevens kind of got his claim to fame from doing very lengthy critiques of the Assassin's Creed series, which he's played extensively and was very good at. Really smart fellow, graduated from college, I think maybe with a master's degree in business. He's very bright as to the business of gaming, the gaming industry, and really good at reading between the lines with gaming, quite intelligent. Really like very in-depth reviews. We're talking like 40 minutes on up to an hour plus per review. Why he likes Days Gone, let's say, and he'll do a whole lengthy thing on it. And he'll point out all the bugs and issues, but he'll really tell you what he likes about it. Very opinionated, but articulates it well as to what he likes and what he doesn't like. So I highly recommend him. I have a couple of my friends, my friend Vinny in Idaho Falls, he also likes his channel quite a bit. And he was kind of hard on Stray and certain games, which he thought were a little too, rudimentary, and just couldn't really see what the big attraction was. But doesn't mean that he's not a good game reviewer. But next one is God is a Geek, which is kind of an interesting UK channel. Guy's got a really, very laid-back demeanor, very pleasant to listen to, and they're just good, solid reviews. Really good, well-rounded reviews all the way around. I really like his reviews on quite a few games, and every time I'm looking, whether it's Grid Legends or, Atomic Heart or any of them, he's got a good review of it. Whether I'll buy the game or not, sometimes it will depend on reviews from people like him. But excellent review, and I just like the way that he delivers. His commentary is very good, very polished, and very easy and relaxing to listen to. I really like his channel. Check his channel out. Excuse me, a little hoarse this morning. Ever since I went through COVID, my voice has changed. It's a lot more rough. It almost sounds like I smoke 5 packs a day. It's just a really hoarse, kind of a rough voice now, which is unfortunate, but it's life. You got to deal with it. The next one is a channel that's been around for quite a while. I have followed him off and on, but recently I just subbed to him permanently full time, and that's Jared the Gaming Dragon. A strange name for a channel. He primarily focuses on PC games or PC ports of games. Really good. I mean, great reviews. Recently did one about Red Faction 1 and 2. He does a lot of, the Torah games he gets into, the good ones and the bad ones. And he defends, Area 51. He'll go over just a myriad of games, a lot of real popular older games and the Duke Nukem games and all that as well. Great reviews. I really like his reviews. He did a good one of Far Cry 6 recently I watched. I think that's when I subbed to his channel. He says, yeah, it has this, and yeah, it's derivative, and it's repetitive, and there's issues. It was very similar to things in other previous, Far Cry New Dawn and Far Cry 5 and what have you. But it's a fantastic game, and I had a hell of a lot of fun, and I'll tell you why. And he gets into that. He's very easy to listen to, very Spock-like and analytical, the way he talks and plays through games. And he's good at games, too. He can play some tough ones. Great channel. I highly recommend it. Again, I'll have a link down below for his deal. This next one is one of my favorite channels in here. And if I had put this in a priority, it would be in my top 3 probably. And he's a smaller channel, and I consider him a friend as we've interacted. He's made comments on my channel, community posts and videos, as well as me making comments on his. And that's Joe the Alternative Gamer. Great channel. He champions a lot of the PlayStation 1 and 2 games that I liked early on. He loves the Siphon Filter series, as I do. He likes a lot of the Terminator. I think Terminator Resistance was that's how I met him. That's how I discovered his channel. And his review of it, he really defended it and upheld it, where other mainstream reviewers that first week or two were just shitting all over it. And I said, wow, this guy is really good. He kind of reminds me of, if I could have gone towards more game reviews early on, I would have had a channel probably more aligned with his type of channel, the way he talks about games and the way he captures gameplay and really showcases the games and shows his impressions and why he likes them and why he doesn't. I would definitely have a channel more aligned with his than probably most game reviewers that I'm listing here today. Wonderful channel, really nice guy, just a genuinely nice dude. He's had his channel for a while. It doesn't have the numbers of a lot of the bigger channels, the other channels that I've listed here, but if I had the choice to support one of them on Patreon, it probably would be his. I think he only has 2 Patreon supporters, and they've been following him and supporting him for some time. And I feel bad. I really would love to try to donate. Maybe I can make a one-time donation if I could. I certainly would like to. He's someone I would genuinely support. He's a really nice guy. I don't know whether he does it full-time or if it's a part-time gig and he works somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know him at that level yet. But I'm really happy with his channel. Check his channel out. He goes over a lot of retro games and newer ones, like, the Callisto Protocol. He did a really good take on that, what he likes about it, what he doesn't. He can get into some of the technical things too. But in the end, he looks for the fun in games, and he finds them. That's why I like his channel. Check his channel out. Mr. Hammers. This is another fairly newer channel that I kind of discovered the last 7-8 months maybe. I think I just kind of stumbled on it by accident, looking at old reviews or new reviews of Manhunt 1 and 2. And he had a whole series on Manhunt. Like, wow, this guy really gets, he gets Manhunt like I do. So based on that, I followed his channel. He's got a logo of the hammer from Vice City, the little, graphic of the little square of a hammer. That's his name. He's got some really brutal. He likes the Condemned Origins games and really hardcore type games. And the Punisher, did a great review of the Punisher. He does a lot of old school reviews and, God, what other ones? He's done really good ones. I can't think of all the names. The minute I try to think of the names, they go puff right out the window. But great channel. Check his channel out. He really gets some really good in-depth game reviews over really violent, gory, horror-type games in particular. That's kind of his specialty, but he covers a pretty good range of games. Really like his channel a lot. Very cool. It's a kind of an up-and-coming channel, and I wish him the best moving forward. Solid Rev, this is one of my friends. This is one that, if I had him in order of hierarchy, I'd have it much higher up towards number 1. He doesn't always do game reviews. Right now he's reviewing the new TV show on HBO Max, not The Walking Dead, The Last of Us. And him and his son have been watching it and kind of doing dissecting the show episode by episode, going over what they like, what they don't like, what they change from the original, what they like better in the game, that kind of stuff. But he does game reviews, and he's the type where he works his ass off. This is someone that works hard like I do. And he puts in 14, 15, 16-hour days quite often. But he'll have a few days off in a row, and man, when he attacks gaming, he'll sit down and he's italicized, and he'll just churn through 7-8 hours straight and burn through a game fast. He went through Red Dead Redemption 2 in a couple weeks, tops. I mean, if not a week. It was really fast. Oh my dude, really? You finished it already? And you're doing a review of it? Wow. And this is someone who works his ass off, who's got children, a family, responsibilities, and actually has a life, YouTube is just a side thing, but he's got a good-sized channel. I think he's got well over 50,000 subs at least. I mean, it's a good size. To me, that's good size. I mean, to some people, it's a tiny channel. Until he gets a silver plaque, then I'll be impressed. It just depends. But I love the guy to death. For a short while, he was actually kind of toying with going back to the PS3 and Xbox 360 days, and was slowly kind of collecting a few PlayStation 3 games. And he's like, God, if I wish I could. And he hates anything used. When he gets a used game, because he has no choice, he kind of holds it up like it's contaminated with AIDS or something, and picks it up with white gloves and it's like he's like almost someone that does FBI forensics or something that kind of knows too much about germs and how disgusting people are. But he sees the worst of human nature every day, unfortunately, being in the law, we'll just put it the law enforcement industry. I'll just leave it at that. I won't get into specifics. But so he's seen the worst of humanity, unfortunately, and I think that has definitely had an impact on how he views society as a whole and mankind. But very cool, very somewhat not politically correct, kind of like myself, I suppose. But he has to walk a fine line, because it's YouTube, and he does care about, doesn't want to see his channel auger into the ground by being an overt asshole. So he has to be kind, and like they challenged him about playing he didn't want to play The Last of Us Part 2, but he had a couple of friends that really recommended, oh dude, you got to give it a try, it's really great, at least do it for the comments. So he reluctantly played through it, and only because someone gave him the game. He wouldn't spend his own money on it because he was so turned off by what he had kind of heard early on about the game. But he does great reviews, and of all the people that I put stock in, I put more stock in when he has something to say about a game. I'll watch 10, 12 reviews. Well, dude, but 75% of them say the game ain't that good. Dude, Dean, listen to me. This game's fucking good, And he'll send me a text, and I'll say, that's all I need. That's good. His word is good enough for me. So I, not blindly, but I put a lot of credence in what Solid Rev has to say. I know his real name. He doesn't want that out. He's a very private person, and and I respect his privacy. I don't call him at home. I don't bug him. I wouldn't pop in him when I take a trip to Miami. I'm not going to Florida or whatever. I'm not going to pop in on him. I would call him. I would text him first and set something up. And I'm looking forward to spending some time in person with him, like Blaze did, his friend Blaze, and who I had, lists his channel among my recommended channels. Blaze finally got down to see him down in Florida, and had a kind of a surprise visit, and it was interesting the way they filmed it. But someday I'd like to hook up with him when I go down to Miami again, and I'll definitely. He doesn't live necessarily in the Miami area, but he lives in Florida. But to me, the state doesn't take that far to get from Orlando to Tampa or to Miami. You can do it in a few hours, But a great dude. I really think the world of him. I actually gave him a brand new Xbox 360E that I had barely used. I had put it on and maybe put 5 hours in it, if that, and then never really played any games on it. But I neatly packed it up in the box just like it was brand new. Cleaned everything, with Windex and microfiber towels, because I know how particular he is. And he did an unboxing of it and loved it, and was very happy that I sent it to him. Great dude. I think the world of him, and very funny. There's a lot of humor in the channel, whether it's intended or otherwise. It's quite humorous. So if you're watching, bud, I love your channel. So anyway. And then my, getting down near the end here, my good friend Cameron of Industrial Gamer. This is another one I would have higher up on the list. I haven't watched as many of his videos lately. Some of the games he covers I'm just not really into, but I try to watch his channel as much as I can. I've been getting behind on his. I used to try to watch everyone like my friend Jeremy, but it's just becoming more difficult as my life is getting more hectic. But a very nice dude. The last time I went down to see him, I kind of knew that we were moving to Idaho and that it was going to be the last time. So I showered him with gifts. I did a beautiful cutout, which you can see in some of my earlier videos, of Call of Duty World at War. I did a beautiful logo, all cut out of plywood and airbrushed and painted. He's got that up in his room. And then I gave him one of my 2 very best modded Xboxes with an upgraded hard drive, new DVD drive, CoinOps 9 Massive installed in it, plus like a dozen really good Xbox games. And I gave him a super clean 1080i copy of Doom 3 for the original Xbox as a gift with it. So I kind of showered him with gifts at the end. He did the same with me. He's always given me 4K Blu-rays, and we went out to the movies and saw Ford versus Ferrari. Had a really nice steak dinner beforehand. Really kind of went out with it, and I had a very nice time. I used to see him every single year, either for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and I would go out of my way to wherever he was staying, whether because his parents' split up. So, he'd see his, dad up in the San Fernando Valley, and so I'd go up to Woodland Hills, whatever, and see him, have lunch with him up there, or I'd see him down near his mom's in, the Orange County area. So he's got a really good career now. He's doing very well. I'm very proud of him. Even on Father's Day, he'll send me a text saying Happy Father's Day. I mean, he's like the son I never had. I just think the world of the guy. He's really a good game. This is a very dedicated gamer. He's a very serious gamer. He's got probably one of the highest gamer scores I've ever seen for trophies or achievements. He plays everything, and I mean 100%s them, and is very passionate about his games. He goes to every big gaming event, E3, all the big things they have in Hollywood or LA, game-related, CPAC things, or not CPAC, I've been thinking of Trump and some right-wing thing. Excuse me, I can't remember what they call them, but they're the computer, electronics computer show, or I forget what it's called, but anyway, he goes to like all of them, all the ones in LA. He covers everything. He's very passionate about the game industry. He wanted to be a game designer, to design his own games and work in the game industry, but he had a pretty good reality check as to what kind of a life you'd actually have. And he says, yeah, it'd be fun, but you can't make the money. I'd rather make the money and then play the games and have fun. And so he kind of chose his career wisely. He was smart and opted not to get into the gaming industry as a game designer or whatever, because you're just one of a million people, and you're here today, and maybe you have a good job, and then you're kicked out the door tomorrow. Xbox, Microsoft shuts you down, lets 8,000 employees go, and here goes your career. So back to the drawing board. But anyway, great dude, very good friends. I think the world of him. Follow his channel. My friend Vinny in Idaho Falls, he loves his channel too, and he religiously follows his channel, and my good friend Jeremy's as well. The next one is one that, again, I reluctantly will mention this guy, but I can't deny he's a good game reviewer, and he likes a lot of the iconic series, the Duke Nukem series, the Doom series, and the Wolfenstein, especially Return to Castle. Like me, has a lot of reverence for it. So because of that, he's in this list, but barely. He shit all over Mad Max because he was in a hurry to get a review out, and he resented grinding. He said, the economy in this game is shit. You can't make any money in it. It's like very little scrap to be found, and you need lots of scrap to upgrade Max in his car. I was like, dude, if you spent the time to play the game properly and grind, which is part of all the side quests, which are quite fun, you would have been able to upgrade, and the game wouldn't have been such a chore to get through, but whatever. And this is an Australian person that shits on Mad Max, and he's saying that a real Mad Max game shouldn't be like this, and he just shit all over it. It's like, what the hell do you know about Mad Max? But anyway, the guy's got a good channel. I don't watch every game review, but he did a good thing recently. He went over like every Duke Nukem game, a little kind of profile in each one. He does stuff like that. It's quite good. It goes over all the Far Cry games, and again, more of a PC-centric gamer, but good reviews. He can be a little harsh. Boy, when he doesn't like something in a game, he has no problem letting you know, but definitely worth a follow. The last two, second to the last one, is the Daily Popka. Now, that's a very unusual sounding name. You may not have heard of him. Well, that's because he only covers original Xbox games. He only reviews those and nothing else. In the early days, he used to do more skits, like little skits he did with some of his reviews. His reviews are quite short and very concise, although he has done a few longer ones. But I love the guy to death. I mean, if I lived closer, I would go out of my way and try to befriend the guy, because I think the world of him. He does great reviews on what he calls the Big Green, or the original Xbox. So I love the guy for that. He does great original Xbox reviews. Last one is a fairly new channel, much smaller, but it had to be in this list. I really think the world of the guy. A very chill channel. I think the guy's from the UK, just a very relaxed tone of voice, very soothing, like ASMR shit, whatever it's called, you know, where they talk and whispering and it's all this kinesthetics and feelings and all that. He does that not intentionally trying to create that, but just this is natural tone kind of person he is. And it comes through and very calm and relaxed and is very fair with his reviews. And that's called a photography gamer. Smaller channel, excuse me, quite good. He reviewed like Lifeless Planet. I just watched his review of that recently and really good. He got the game like I did. Some reviewers didn't like it, but he got it. And he's reviewed a lot. He does a lot of PC games as well, but a lot of PS4 games that he'll play and indie games that he'll do really good reviews of. A great channel. I really like the guy a lot. It's another one that if I could support him, I would. I just think he's got a very chill channel, a really very pleasant voice, wonderful demeanor, very concise reviews. They aren't too long, but right to the point and fair. I think the world of him. So that's pretty much it. The other alternative or honorable mention, I'll mention, and he reviews games once in a blue moon, and that's Phil at DSP. Again, he's got like 3 different channels. He has like DSP Vlogs and DSP Tries at Gaming. I don't know which ones they're on, probably just the main DSP channel. But he has his what they call a Hateful Truth reviews. And he's done them for years since he had his place in back east in Connecticut. And he'll just take a half an hour sitting on the couch and hold a game box up, like kind of like I do, and talk about what he likes about the game. For a while, he actually was putting footage behind it as well, which was nice. You know, he's kind of gotten more, fans kind of got on him because of his filming the TV set the way I do with a camera aimed at the TV. I said, dude, for the love of God, get a fucking capture card, you know, and the guy gets a lot of hate, which is unfortunate. But if I'm going to watch someone live stream a game, he's one of my top 3 favorite streamers, hands down. You want to see a really funny, fun game playthrough where he'll fucking rage and go off on the game and talk about, you know, if the game's bugged out and shit like that. It's just hilarious. I love the guy to death. We used to interact a lot when I was back on Twitter. I don't interact with him that much anymore, which is sad, but once in a while he'll do game reviews. I won't have a link to his channel below. You can look up DSP Gaming. It's pretty easy to find. But if he had a channel just for game reviews, I would certainly link it here, but I just don't have it. But wonderful dude. I think the world of Phil. But anyway, that's it. That's just a kind of a quick look at game reviewers that I like, and I could do another 15. And I may do one soon where just pick out even smaller channels like 300 and 500 subs or 1,000 or less and uphold them and mention them. And so, believe me, there's a lot of good channels. I've discovered a lot of good channels. They're just smaller channels. These were like the biggest ones, the ones that I go to the most. And I have some new ones just in the last 3 months that I've discovered. I'd love to talk about, and I will, just not in this video. So otherwise, video will be an hour and a half long, and then no one will watch it. So anyway, I'll quit it. I'll leave it here at this point. And I'm still, you know, playing Mad Max. I'm actually playing the Xbox version of it. I got the game box here. And I'm going to start probably this week. I want to get back in and pick up where I left off in Terminator Resistance. I've just been aching to play this. In fact, Photography Gamer just did a review of this. I think that's why it kind of piqued my interest in it. And it's like, he actually gets the game, and he saw the fun in the game just like, you know, myself and other positive game reviewers that like the game rather than Angry Joe and others that shit on it because they didn't like the laser colors. It wasn't up to their expectations or whatever. So it's a AA studio of guys. I mean, it's not going to be a perfect game, you know. I mean, look at Fallout 4, as buggy and crappy as that is, and that's a AAA studio. So it's kind of, in fact, it's kind of like a Terminator version of Fallout 4. It's a good way to look at it, but great game. Anyway, guys, that's it. Just a quick, you know, rundown of the channels I think would be worth checking out. I highly recommend you watch all these channels. Great game reviews, and if you, I mean, 60, 70 bucks is a lot of money for a new game, or if you want to check out a review of an older game, and some of those games are going up to 50, 60, 70, or 100 bucks. I want to get that In the Hunt tall box on the PlayStation 1. My God, it's like 120, 150 bucks now. That might be the one game I'm going to spend the big bucks for. It's the one I've always wanted, and I've just eluded me, and I want the tall box. Actually, the jewel case one is actually worth more. It's gone up more in value than the original tall box one. Why? I don't know. Probably because it's a lower production run. Probably. That's usually why. Like, that's the reason to buy something, just because it's got a low print run, but whatever. Anyway, guys, enjoy your games and your game collection. I'll be back real soon. See you.